So just going to give that a bit of a workaround and a scrub up, and it's nice and ribbed there for grip, if you can see. And then you've got this rubber sheave which you place over it, obviously that because that's nice and stiff and ribbed. This sort of pushes down like a glove. Hear that ratchet there, and then they're kind of like, well, it's a sort of good sort of shape to it. That as usual, I have no idea whereabouts we are and in what episode we're actually in. I reckon it's probably episode 38, but I could be wrong. Could be 38 too. Who knows? But we have done the door card. Come down. Let's have a look. Okay, radio down. Have we been busy? Or have we been busy? It's a Saturday. No, it's a Friday today, but I've lost all track of days and time. Those nuclear apocalyptic videos I made earlier on are quite appropriate. If you've not seen them, look around episodes 29, 30 for my apocalyptic intros. One of the videos even shows me in the back of the car under an old smelly blanket, bunkered down. Okay, well, enough of that. I want to talk you through the looms I've been building. Have a look up at the roof, you'll see the patrons proudly displayed up there. And we've got them up in lights. We've only got you up in lights. Hell, light them patrons up. So, interior lights are all fitted. And look at this lovely little feature in a minute when they switch off. In fact, actually, no, I can do it when they're off. If I... Whoa! Woohoo! Kate Bush there. Bit of 70s bush with all the trimmings. Brazilian landing strips. Now then, folks, look what you can do with the interior lights. It's a great accidental feature, but hell, I can control the light there, but if I want it all three on, I go for the middle, which is dead easy to do when you're sat in the car. Reach back. I noticed this on Ruby and Swampy. Slide across. You get all three of the interior lamps on from the one control. So that means both people in the back, you can switch all your lights on with one. It works really well. So wiring looms then, and Cider Andy asking where's the cruise control vacuum pump. If you're not up to date, the car's got cruise control and it's vacuum operated, computerized, but using a vacuum to create the pull tension on the Newton meter force, cable pulling force on the throttle. Uses a vac pump and some bellows. Bellows are under the dash. Vac pump, not that noisy, but does make a little ticking sound, so we're hidden it at the back here. Comes with its own little rubber mounting feet. You drill and then pull them through these bungs, and look, see if we can get you in. Down and dirty. Okay, so we give that a little rub. So there's the vac pipe that goes along the A-pillar, along the roof and down the A-pillar to the bellows. And the computer controls that pump here. Vacuum on, then a vac dump. So by pulling the vacuum in, then little pulses on here to dump little bits of vacuum out, it creates the bellow movement, which creates everything that we want. Okay, white balance on my camera's not set right. I've just noticed it's probably set for cloudy days. I better switch the auto on. That's why all the colours look weird. The dash looks more brown. It's red brown, but the white balance is probably chucking it a bit. It's beautiful, by the way. Really beautiful. And we've been doing the wiring harnesses. So I've done a disconnect plug here. That's for the separate subloom that's in the roof. We've got a subloom in the roof and it disconnects out the main harness there. We've got the wires extended and repaired, all going up and following the correct routes. Picking up the tangs on the wheel housing to lock the loom into place, nice and neat. We've got a boot switch mounted there, can you see that? So when I open the boot now, it supplies power to the rear light cluster openings, which have LEDs in them and they light up the boot. On a Cortina it uses your side lights to illuminate the light cluster, then you have a window inside the light cluster shining into the boot. So the idea is switch on your side lights, so your side lights will be on, your tail lights will be on, but they'll also be shining light into the boot through these little clear plastic windows. But we replace those with thin LED strips and a switch, and we don't have the side lights on. We could also have the side lights on, but this boot will operate those, and the sub loom's been built. Well, I built it into the main loom, so you don't even know that they're there, so it looks really neat. We've been using a multitude of different connectors. Let's step across. Can the Cortina sit your feet? Okay, we've not got the blankets on the sills here, so be mega careful. Here's my little tray, and there's an assortment of goodies in here. Some stuff's good to use, most of it is. What was really handy for the smaller wires anyway were these solder joiners. We'll switch the white balance out in a minute, get it right, we're all looking discoloured. Those small ones, about this size, these aren't them, but they've got a little band of solder in the middle and two little glue bands of gold, like Frida Payne said. And the larger ones are a pain, simply because a big chunky cable, that band of solder, whilst it's a great idea, just can't quite penetrate in, and there's not really enough for the big juicy cable joiners. That's why they've not been used. Look, and by the time you've really got the heat flowing, this heat shrink jacket here that collapses down breaks apart, and it just doesn't work on the larger cables. The smaller ones are good. The smaller ones, I've not got any left because I've used them all. They're great, they work fantastic, so we rate them. They're worth every penny. These larger ones, they're worth about a penny. Right, those cables in and no more clambering around in the cabin. We can get the sound deadening in. Let's get this stuck down nice. I've got to talk quietly because the neighbours outside, they might think I've cracked up. There we go. Boom. Okay, I've got the aluminium foil backed soundproofing down, the Dynamat, and then we cut some more mats based on Bramble's templates. We still had these, although they're all a bit warped, but we've used them as templates. These sort of level out the floor pan because you've got the raised sections there for the just the way that the floor pan's pressed for the seat mounts and stuff. So to level it, they put these in. It kind of like brings the carpet level again. They are invertible. I'm not sure if the rubber bit's meant to go that way down or that way. I really don't know. Either way, they'll flip. So just marking through the holes where the seat bolts are going to go, and then refit this bracket now. But what I'm going to do, if I put that bracket there like it is, it may be splayed out a bit too much, so I've just drawn round. I'm going to cut out that part of the insulation, the sound deadening, just so when I rivet it now it squeezes it to the right width, just in case the centre console tries to sort of push apart. You never know how tight the tolerances is there, so it's best to put that back how it was. Handbrake's getting ready now. We've got our handbrake here, so we're just going to give that a bit of a work around and a scrub up, and it's nice and ribbed there for grip, if you can see. And then you've got this rubber sheave which you place over it, obviously that because that's nice and stiff and ribbed. This sort of pushes down like a glove. Hear that ratchet there, and then they're kind of like, well, it's a sort of good sort of shape to it. That's it's ready really. I could do a bit of grease prep. Oh, I've done some grease there. A little bit of I think I use lithium, but sort of, I don't know if we should grease the end of it or not. I don't really know. You have to let us know what you want. If you want me to give that, it's rigid enough to hold, so we'll just give it a bit of a shine up, bit of that PVC, nice material, rubber and PVC there to give you flexibility and to make a nice seal, airtight seal, so you don't get any fumes coming up through the car. But yes, I always like these handbrakes. I don't really know why. So we'll get that fitted. Yeah. Okay, I've neatly scalloped that out, but we must remember before we rivet this in that we've got to get the handbrake on, because this obstructs the screws and the fitting kit for the handbrake. So it really is time now to give our shaft a bit of grease and bang him on there. So to see if he fits in the hole. It should fit in the hole. Should just go right up there, yeah. So I might be a little bit overextended, but that's going to go nice. So we've got a little plate now that goes over that. We've had that powder coat. We're going to go and dig that out. I can't remember seeing it, but there's a little plate that goes over there with some screws, 6 screws. Screw that down, and then we can then fit that over the top. See, and we're nicely cut out there, so that should be the same width. Wide is always better, so they say, if you're trying to brace something. But if you're trying to get plastic things to fit, and the vessel's too narrow, then a narrow thing, it might not touch the sides. You might get complaints. I'm not sure, but let's just keep it as it was. Let's go. Let's not break the chain. Okay, we're doing our brand now, our Russell brand. Turn this up, fire up that, keep this up. That should do it. Switch off, and then we're just making like little imprints into the foam for the seat brackets. Watch this. Put that across there, push down. Alright, that just makes a nice sort of factory looking imprint where your bolts can go through. Take that away and that's now cut like a square. See, look how neat that is. It's a nice little touch. I just made that out of a bit of old bar, but it just makes it, obviously the seat brackets will sit in there, and we do the same on the carpet and brand through the carpet and just give it that factory look rather than just cutting holes out. Just a little bit more factory looking. 2 to do on the other side. Then same on the carpet. We've got to cut out for this bracket now. We're on with a handbrake cable. I've already cut out the carpet to get over this centre bracket. They gave you the imprint for the handbrake, so that was easy. We just cut round it, but they didn't give you the GXL fitting cut out, so you make them yourself. And then we're looking good. So still trimming out really, but it's going quite nice. And you'll say just some little tiny details. There's some tape to put over those inner sill holes. Can you see? They just get their factory holes. I'm not sure why they have holes in them. It's probably for it to collapse on itself on an impact, perhaps. They're not for wax oiling, because you wax oil at that end and push the lance through, and we don't want wax oil spraying out of there anyway when the lance goes through it. So we tape these up. We're nearly done then. Some insulation for the back but under the seats, and some for the roof. But we're branding. Don't let it get... Whoa. Okay, ready to do some branding, product branding. Here we go. Okay, just let that dry off. Not dry off, but solidify again so it doesn't drip any stuff onto the good bits of carpet. And let's just turn the gas off. I'll keep you running though. Gas off. So here we are, just branding the carpet. Let's wait for that to cool a little bit. So this makes our nice cutouts, so look, we're straight in, bang on for the mount. And that, what happens when you do it this way is when you bolt the bracket up, this is actually a double spaced one, but let's take this single spaced one for example, we've already done. When this bracket goes on here and I tighten the bolt up, what happens, you get a lovely tucked in edge effect as it draws down. There's one we've already done, and look how it, we can't quite see that one there, I've got this in the way, but you'll see how it sort of wraps the carpet round it very neatly. And you get more compression, plus these then end up being metal to metal and the seat height's correct and all even, because if you let it try and crush on that, you still got potential for it to move and stuff. This way you're down to the base, but the carpet curls round as you compress this and you don't get any edges, and it just looks like it's nicely sunk into the carpet. It's a really great pro finish. You can see how it works there. So we just use the branding tool and it just cuts it out, no fraying. So we can put that like that. These are our seat brackets going in now. We've done that side. Okay, it's going very well. So everything's lining up beautifully. So we're going to carry on just assembling these two sliding brackets for the seats. We've got to put the connecting rods on. They have little connecting rods for various operations. On this seat there you'll see the bed lever at the far end. That's the bed lever now. I'm going to turn the radio down and talk you through it. We have discussed the bed lever in the past, but I'll go through it again. Let's get the radio down because I'm fighting with it. I'll show you the height adjuster and the bed adjuster. Here we go. Seats then going in, and centre carpet section. Consoles in, illuminated of course. Look at that. Ooh, nice price. Heated seat controls, heated seat wires coming out here for you everybody. Flush fit, very nice, just tucks in neatly at the back, nice and solid. Centre console, T-shifter stick on. Just need to bolt down that now. Let's just bolt from underneath. Centre console, beautiful. We are doing very well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased with this. I love the way this carpet fits over here. Look at that. I mean, that's a deal breaker. Look, beautiful, really nice. Okay, smashing. Okay, well, the seat frames are going in. Nice. This first seat frame, the passenger side, I think I've got this right. If this handle's on the wrong side, I'll just swap it across, but this mock-up here will give you an idea of how it works, including the mysterious bed lever. So, just going to set the camera's colour balance up, just check that it's all running correctly. We're going to start talking about this. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to set the camera up. Okay, we're set up. So we've got a seat frame here, folks. It's got a height adjuster on it so that you can just pull back and adjust and just set your sort of nose height of the seat. You do that with this lever here. You pull that lever up and this lovely pin that we've refurbished pulls out of its locking hole, and this, what you call a snail cam. It's basically a sort of off-centered curved shape. You can just see it there. It's in this little greased up receptacle that I've done, which has a plastic liner on it as well. That's all powder coated. It's got a plastic liner that it slots into. This frame actually slots that way in. Can't do it now because we're bolted up, but it slots in this way into this receptacle. And when you pull this height adjuster lever, it releases the locking pin. You can see that there, look. Then you've got various different positions, and if you sort of push or pull down on the seat with your feet, you can push the seat down to a lower level or pull up to a higher level, and it'll just lock back in. So that really, let's move back here, let's just step back a little bit for you. That just raises and lowers that nose, and that's why it's pivoted on these points at the back. When you look at these points at the back, these brackets here, you'd think they were for folding the seat, but they're not. If that seat's going to pivot, this couldn't be fixed, it'd have to be moved. So whilst it doesn't move much, it still has to be able to move. 2 pins go through there, which we've refurbished. Little split pin on the end, same on that side. So that gives the pivoting point from the front. So that explains the height. These are the seat runners themselves, a pair of, linked together with an operating cord or wire, and then a hand lever which has a knob on here that goes at the front, and we just pull, and that releases out of the little rack and pinion. Well, it's not a rack and pinion, but it's teeth in a rack. Pull that and that'll move. The other one would move with it because the seat's bolted across. So that gives you your forward and back sliding, standing back again, and it's quite straightforward. You set this just so it pulls them out equally. Okay, so that's going to make the seat slide by you grab and pull. That's if that doesn't go on that side. I'm just going to check because you could get these. I don't think I've got it wrong, and you'd think that I'd remember, but I don't. Anyway, that's how you slide your seat. But what they did was, and here's the rub, they used this, what they call bed lever here. Not all cars had it. It seemed to be phased out. Certainly early Series 1 cars have this lever. You pull that lever and it releases a ratchet on that side as well, look, and on this side, and you've got another runner. So you've 2 lots of runners. You've this normal seat runner, which most cars, Cortinas, have, but on the early ones you've got another set of runners stacked beneath it, which allows this frame to go even more forward. So I pull that, and then I can't actually do it while I'm filming, I don't think, no, but what happens is this whole frame beneath the top set, the normal set of rollers, there's another slide, and the whole frame then comes out, right out to the front here. So in a combination of you pulling fully forward on your normal, then pull the lever, or rather pull the lever for the bed lever first because it's easy to get to, pull that first, slide forward, then get that and slide forward even more. The front of the seat then is almost touching the glove box. Then when you fold the back of your seat down, it lays flush with the back seat and creates an entire flat surface. You wouldn't be able to do that normally if you didn't have the bed lever. The seat would land, the back of the seat would land on the back seat and not be flush. So this creates a position where you can have your entire seat totally flat all the way to the back, and so you could actually lie down. If you had a little mini air mattress, a camping mattress, inflatable type or foam, and you rolled it out, you would then be able to lay down. Well, how comfortable it would be, I don't know. I have used it not to sleep, I've used it to crash out in, and it was fine on my other cars. Swampy's got it, Ruby's got it, so it's a great feature. It's just a nice little touch. So all the springs replaced, all the little bits, everything powder coated. You don't powder coat the main running rails because it'll melt the little plastic ball bearing carriers. There's little carriers inside here with ball bearings, and if you powder coat them, and this sounds like the voice of experience, they melt and all the ball bearings escape, and you've effectively wrecked your seat runner. Non-repairable because the factory punched in there. These are the pressings. The ball races go in, the little carriages go in like little bogies off a railway carriage. Then they stamp them in and they're locked in between these 2 points, there and there, your little races. So you can't powder coat these, so I just sand them down and satin black them. they're hidden anyway, so the level of paintwork on that runner there is not as high quality as the powder coating work, but it's a price you have to pay because you cannot strip these very easily. You could grind this out, you could do it, but it's not worth it. It's one of those ones where you do take a compromise on it and it's fine. So that's a completed unit. I would now take this off and bolt it to the seat and then place the whole unit in by leaving the height adjuster in position, but just taking out the 2 bolts at the back, which you can access by sliding this into a position. You'll find some oval holes you can get your socket in. Then you then slot the seat in, slide the seat forward, your socket will go down. You can tighten those 2 bolts at the back that connect it to the floor pan that we rebuilt. Of course, all the floor pan was rebuilt, and we'd mocked this up already when we built the floor pan, so that we made sure when we did the mounting points that everything was drilled, because the floor pan didn't come with the holes for this or the setup for it. We had to mock that up, and indeed, if you look on earlier Cortina Resto films, Project Bramble ones that is, you'll see when I'm building this floor pan that I planned that out first for this very day that we've arrived at, and it's paid off because everything just bolts in perfectly. So that's it. That is a seat adjuster on a Series 1 Mk3 Cortina. You'll see how the subwoofer now just slides underneath there, no problem. You could have a securing bracket on it, but I just put Velcro on the back and it grips onto the carpet. It doesn't go anywhere, and if you ever have to take it out, you can slide it out and pull the plug. They tried to pull the plug! He's off again. Okay, so we just do the other side exactly the same, build it up. You do have to get the tension on this just right, because it's got 2 positions. It won't allow the runner to run away with itself, excusing the pun. It has its own lock position, which this sets, and then there's a secondary position which then allows individual clicks. So this just has to be set just right. Halfway in allows you the little individual clicks of movement. All the way out allows a full movement till it hits the bump stop. If you get these adjusted so they open too much, it will run off the rail. So they have to be set just right between the little clicks, between the teeth of the ratchet. And you just have to set that by undoing a little clasp and then setting the tension on this so that this lever pulls them equally, but not too far out. And that's what these are for. These bump stops here stop you from getting it too far out and allowing this to run past itself. So these do help, but you do need to just get it set just right. This one's not as critical. It's a lot easier, that one. This one just needs to be set just right when you've stripped these down, if you are indeed stripping them down. The seat belt themselves are in, but I think that we should be rotated round that way, and they don't want to twist that way, and that one won't fit on that side. So I'm just going to investigate that situation there with the seatbelt clamps. I'm sure I can sort it out. They bolt through here. Again, we branded that so that it made a nice fit. You can see the fit of the carpet is great, and we've got this edging strip going on now. It tends to wave a little bit. It has screws that push in on it, and because we've got juicy thick carpets here, it does wave a bit, but they all do wave to a degree. We might just be able to get that a little bit straighter along that run. Ford sill badge in there, so plenty going on. Gonna start doing the door cards just so I can get them up and running. Can't fit them till the headlining's on, but we can get the door cards built. We'll talk about that separately. Dash in then, folks. I think we've already pictured this, but we'll do it again for this part of the film. I wonder if we've got out of episode 37 part 2, or might just be coming to the end of 37 part 2. What an exciting time it's been. I'm just digging out little bits and bobs, user manuals and things. The glove box is getting populated with goodies already. So we've got the valet key. I'll just show you the valet key. Let's go round. Engine bay's not changed much in this episode. A couple of detailing stickers going on there. A nice Castrol sticker there, period. That label's not supposed to be straight. They just went like that and stuck them on. Neither were those. They were never straight. Bang, bang. There you go. So not much changing in the engine bay, really, because it's all been down this end. Some carpet to trim here, dead easy to do. This to clean up and refit. It's a bit grubby. Dug it out of stores. Clean that up, no problem. Handbrake in. Nice illuminated cubby hole there, nice. Heated seat controls active and running. Heated seat loom just comes out there, plugs straight into your seat, very nice. Okay, the key then, look what we've got. This key here is the valet key. You'd give that to the garage. That key won't open the glove box. Don't worry, we'll get these replated so they look new. This key doesn't open the glove box, but will start the car. This key you'd keep if you were leaving the car with the garage, and you can lock things in the glove box with that one. Whilst both keys fit the ignition barrel, only one will open the glove box, and that's this one here. That's an original Ford key. This end must have snapped at some point, someone's re-drilled it. That was normally a bigger black plastic gripper. Again, we'll get this key replated, although it would mean drilling that rivet. They're nice keys, I'm going to stick with those. Okay, thanks to Lee Holmes for the orange. So that's how that works. And then we're off, we're running. So, leave me to carry on. We've put some sound, let the music play on, baby! Go on, Barry! Woo! Sorry. Let the music play on. Yeah, some work been done on that soundproofing pad there. We've got to rewrite the patrons into the roof up there, because the soundproofing gone in, and I think that's where we got up to. The carpet really needed to be fitted. We just pushed down a little bit more and just shape it a little bit more with that beading edge, but this bracket nicely clamps the edge of that carpet, joining them two together, creating a nice flow there. Mats look good. Matte pockets in, reproduction ones, I quite like them. We may be putting them in a darker colour. That material will paint over with a dye very easily. Heated module, one more module just to velcro up, and then that's all the modules in. And I think we're good to go. Automatic wiper there. We've got the dimmable rear view mirror to sort out soon. There's a cable that picks up for that here. It's got a supply feed, and it's got a reverse signal feed, so that your dimmable mirror does not activate the dim out feature when you select reverse gear. You could be the dimmable mirror, by the way, is an auto dimming mirror out of a Scorpio or a Mondeo actually, and it if you're getting high beamed or dazzled, automatically dims down. You'll be familiar with those. When you select reverse, it kills the feature off, so that if you're in the dark and you're in reverse, you can see what you're doing without it being dimmed out. So it has a reverse feed wire going to it, as well as a ground and a plus 12 volt supply to the mirror. So 3 cables to the mirror. They need doing. The mirror needs testing, and we're just going to bolt it up and just check that it's operational. It's another feature that's part of the dash to almost complete all the systems associated with the dash. I don't know if I ever showed you the electric aerial, but it's on. Let's go around and look at the electric aerial. A German made aerial, begins with a H, but I can't remember. Herr Kapitan, it is Hitauta. No, Hirschman. That's it, Hirschman. Nice aerials. So 2 brackets holding on the electric aerial here. I've not put the final mount screws in yet, because we've got to move it to suit the wing when we get the wings out of storage. The ice sensor there, I've tested that with some cold freeze it spray, and that works, and you get the ice warning on the cluster illumination dash warning lamp flashing green. You can set that to come in whatever temperature you want. That can come in at -1, it can come in at 0, it can come in at whatever temperature you want it to come in at. So that's that. So we're pretty good to go there. Leave me to carry on. We're going to be clearing out some of the benches and the tools. We're now pushing this area clear and putting the shelving up at that end and trying to neaten up. We've got a very untidy workbench here, needs sorting out, so untidy. We've got some brake pipes. We've got a brake pipe tool, which I'll be talking about very shortly, kindly supplied by the Newtster. Little Jim, James Aldridge Motors, and his friend Gary, the expert engineer. I think it's Gary. I'm going to check with Jim later on. Brake pipe bending tool, but with a special, unique feature on it. We'll talk about that soon. Very naughty desk to tidy up. Odd little bits where you don't really know where to put them to do. can take you hours to do that. Where do I put these little bits? Sometimes I'll just get a box and pile everything into that box, and it'll be the odds and sods box. Okay, hope you're having fun watching the episodes so far, and it's good to see you on the live chat. In fact, we're probably chatting right now, aren't we? So fire your questions into the chat box there if you've got anything you want to ask me. If you want to support the project, don't forget to cut across to Patreon. Even though we're halfway through the project, it's still not too late to join in, because YouTube doesn't really give me the mega inspiration to keep filming, although I will do, don't get me wrong. It's just that Patreon supports the project, and we've got our own little forum on there if you want to come in, say hello, and put some support into making these videos, because they do take a lot of time. I know I've said this before, I'm not going to dwell on it for too long, but Patreon's there to help these videos be made, because I go that extra mile with the videos because I've got the support. YouTube's good too, as I said, don't get me wrong. Feast your eyes on the dash as we hover around. Let's just see if I can grab the camera and push my arm through the window and pan you in. Into the middle of the car you go, and that's where we're up to before we shut down. And indeed, if this is the end, part 38 should see these seats in and the headlining on, I hope. So we're going to thank you at this point, and perhaps we're going to leave at this point. Do you want me to fire the ignition up one time and just see the auto lights come in? Come on then, come on before we close. Hope you're surviving the lockdown all right, folks. Surely they're going to let us out soon. I know it has to be done. Okay, let's switch on. We should. It's dark enough, but I'll put my hand up. Barry, one ticket please, brother. I'll put my hand over the sensor here, going across, and we'll get, you hear that click, and that's the automatic lights on. We're in a position on the dash where we can, you'll see the amp gauge fly across. Hang on, down you go. So Varimatic just here, full speed just here, fresh air boost just here, but it's hard to pull with when you got, it wants just an adjustment, that, so the locking bar just needs adjusting a little bit better so you can get to it. They never made this easy to operate. It's always hard to pull that. Always hard to pull that switch, and they never were easy. Automatic gearbox selector, T-shifter. The green light indicates it's ready to receive a lock-up speed signal. The red one would indicate it's actually locked up. Cruise control's on. You have to take my word for that. But it is running. Just needs a speed signal simulator to get it to go. All the rest of the controls we've talked about and are running. We've done the sound system demo within this clip, and also a bonus bit of footage. The hangover footage was done. So plenty there. Plenty. As we say good evening now to you all, and appreciate your chat on YouTube. I always enjoy the YouTube chats, and I enjoy the YouTube support, the comments that come in, the patrons that help, everybody part of this. We're all in it here together this evening, and we bid you good night. In fact, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll turn the lights off, radio down, hang on, shot of the bay, squeaky shoes on the floor, lovely silver, as you'll agree. There's the engine waiting in the wings. There's your silver. Feast your eyes on the silver birch. Into the interior we go. There's our illumination. In you go again. Whoa. One ticket please. One ticket. Blackbird, our friendly Blackbird, is noisily singing away. He's brilliant. This light control gives us everything that we want. One ticket please. That light control operates all of 3 lamps, but also if you just want your reading lamps on, you've got them. If you want just your front light on, that'll just do the front only. And as you know, when ignition goes off, we light up. When ignition goes on, we go off, but it'll also go on with the ignition on if a door's open, because that was an error that I did. When the ignition was on and you open the door, my circuit was designed such a way that it cut out the interior lamp, so I had to modify it so that if the ignition's on, the lamp goes off, but only if the door's shut. If the door opens, lamp comes on. A few little things you learn along the way. Over and out from PC at Cortina City, episode 37 part 2, gently coming to an end, as Peter Barker doesn't like abrupt endings. I know, Peter, it was bonus footage, but I think he understood that. And I don't drink Diet Cola from the last video. I think that the only time I've had Diet Coke other than with a vodka and Coke was that hangover video I did. And it just so happened that there was a bottle of Diet Coke in the fridge. I might drink one of them a year, so I know about aspartame. Normally I'll have water, not even many fruit juice drinks because they're high in sugar, but I'll have liquidized food, you know, I'll make a smoothie by liquidizing some veg, or I'll have water with cucumber slices in it and it infuses into the water, stuff like that. I'm not into bad drinks. Peroni's a good drink that I am into though, although I must admit I'm trying not to have it in the week and keeping the units down, because my units probably were too high really. Even with a bottle of Peroni a night or 2 bottles of Peroni a night, still too much. So even that, God, there's anything you can do. So I'm just going to be very careful with that. Is there anything you can do? Blooming heck. We're locked down, they don't want you to have a beer. Anyway, if this video's going out, well, just bang the beers out, don't you worry about that. It's just when there's nothing happening in the week, just celebrate at the right time. Use your beer for the right moment. It's better that way. And if there's nothing going on, then don't have any booze. Booze when there's a cause to celebrate. And at Cortina City, that's every night. We'll see you soon. Over and out. Okay, just when you thought the bench had gone, and as episode 37 part 2 finished, it could well have done. Did you have a good time? Welcome to episode 38, where we continue building the interior of the car, and I left off with a promise I might do the electric mirror. Did I or did I not? Was it a broken promise? Who knows? However, we have the Cortina mirror here, the Project Bramble mirror, slightly modified and with some tape over the little magic eye window. I'll show you that in a sec. So we've adapted it a little bit and we've got it powered up. We've got our lead made. In the Mondeo that it came from, the cables contained within the centre stalk, but this is a removed stalk from a Mk3 Cortina fitted into it. So we lost that facility to have a hollow mounting post, if you will. So we had to have a grommet there. We made a nice neat grommet at the back, as you can see, and a nice neat cable coming out. It's currently powered on, which is why it's very dark. If I disconnect the power's on just on the power supply there, simply two pieces of wire twisted together, ground and power. Let's say, well, it's dark out because it thinks it's night time because that tape is on the back. So we remove the tape, the window on the back of your mirror now picks up daylight and the mirror begins to come back to normal as it picks up daylight. At least it should do. How does that work? I think we need a torch. This is the fairy. There it goes, it's starting to lighten up now as it picks up the daylight. So there we go. That comes on. Switch the torch off. It might need tape. No, I don't think it does. You can see it reacting to the lamp and lightening up. Lighten up. So we switch off the torch. It'll start to darken down, especially if I cover the window with my hand to simulate the darkness. And there we go. Justin Hawkins, very proud of that. Darkens down, lightens up. Now, if you connect this other cable to the power feed, that is the reverse lamp feed, and that will kill it too. So when I'm in reverse in the dark, you don't get a blacked out mirror, so you can see what you're doing. Take it out of reverse and it swaps back down to the dark again. Put on the torch and it lightens up. So that is your auto dimming mirror, all running, all working. So we're going to install that into the car. We've got an inline fuse to fit there. We've got the rest of the cables on quick bullet connectors. So that can go in. There's our post that we modified. It's no problem. Let's get on and fit it. Okay, one job that really needs doing are these door cards. There's 4 to go. I say door cards, this is the rear quarter. Of course we're on a 2-door, but still it's a card. It's a door card still, I suppose, in a way. Stripped back from its old warped out hardboard backing piece. Okay, this is the inside section there, and earlier on in the series of films you saw us cutting this out while we had an opportunity. So we've made a template with this MDF board, looks like 3mm. Using this, we've got a template made, pretty straightforward procedure really to do that, to cut that out, quite straightforward there. And then sprayed through liberally where we've got to cut out these markings. Now they did use these sort of inlaid clips here for the door card attachment points, but we're going to change those for the circular ones because we can't get them clips. Don't really know why they use those as opposed to normal circular clips, because the fixing holes in the chassis, in the panel of the car, are the same. So I don't really know, but it looks like it's going to work. I've tried the circular clip and mocked it up with a little test sample of wood, and that works. So we don't really need this now. Put that to one side. And what we're going to do is chisel out these. Could have used a Dremel, but it doesn't seem to like doing it, so I've found that screwdriver actually and a block of wood underneath at the back, as long as you've got decent marking, you can chisel out certainly these square ones for now for mounting the finishing strip of wood there, and then the circle ones need a combination of a bit of drilling and a little bit of dremeling. These the crisscross point there donates the centre where the clip's got to end up if we're using these round slidey clips. You'll see this coming together shortly. A cutout for the ashtray, a few other things, but we're going to end up with this overlaid onto the new card there, and we should be good to go like that. Indeed, we can double check all the positions are alright, but I'm sure we're going to be good. The card will need cleaning, sorry, the vinyl will need cleaning and then painting again. It's faded, can you see the fade? But we have got the dye for that, the proper paint dye for that, that we've used on the rest of the trim, so that should come up nice. I don't anticipate this being a problem. Luckily it's not damaged, which is a great thing about it. It's a great thing that it's not really got any damage to the vinyl itself, because that would have been hard to do because it's embossed. So that's safe. At least we've got at least one card salvageable, and I reckon that they're all alright. I think there's a couple have got creases in, but we should be able to make progress. So we're going to cut out all these little holes using a chisel and a block of wood at the back, and then just impact it on the floor, not on the bench. The bench vibrates a bit. So I'll chisel all these out now. Okay, join me overhead. So a little bit of hardboard, chipboard at the back, and then pick the one you want to get. So we're going to go for this one, right into the corner, assuming the spray paint's correct. Strike, strike, and off you go really. I mean, you could use a wider implement, but there's not really enough to justify having to really do anything. This is only a cheapo screwdriver as well. I wouldn't use my snap-on ones for something like this. I mean, for all it's worth, we just use this, and it's not going to take a long time, and it's going to go like this. That'll cut out now with a blade. There we go, it's gone. So that's two there. Sorry, I hit the tripod then. Easily done. These ones are a little bit smaller just here. Look, they're just for the clips to sit in. Sorry about the banging noise. I'll knock the volume down a little bit when I edit it. As I say, for the amount that there are, there's no need to do a big deal on this. Like that, so we'll work our way through. We can clean the edges up just by bringing the Dremel in and deburr these. So I won't bore you with all of that, but we're going to go round, do these. These crosses, as I said, they need circular cutouts because they're going to have these round clips that push and slide in. We can't get those cross clips. This is a little bit of a bigger cutout to do with a chisel, so we could use the jigsaw for this if we want. Again, these are sort of oval shaped, so some of them will need a little bit of assistance. Maybe just Dremel them in, we'll see how we go. But the next clip you see, all these will be out, and this will be prepared ready to receive the vinyl itself, and we'll see if we can get it attached and paint it. We may paint it on the card. We're going to use some Evo stick. Let's just check you're still in shot. Yeah, we're going to use some Evo stick around, but that's a nice card. It's going to be great. Flipping you around, so just chisel out. I mean, I could sharpen this chisel to make a real sharp, cleaner cut. It's just a disposable screwdriver chisel, you know, nothing special. We could just make that a little bit sharper if we wanted to. It's up to us. Suffice to say that we're building this card, chiseling out, and I'm going to get it clean, and we've got all nice new bits to go on that. So stay with us and we'll build this up. We should have a nice looking door card at the end of this. We've got the cigarette tray's been, the ashtray's been revamped, the parts that fit in it. We'll take you through the whole process of this. Shouldn't take too long on film. I reckon we'll have you done in 15 to 20 minutes. Gas Mark 2 on your ovens, 220 degrees. Let's do it. Okay, coming in from this side, you'll see that we've got the card in place with those holes nicely cut out, and just see that black capping piece at the top there. Now Bramble's was completely rotted out. This one's off a Portuguese car. It's not in the best order either, but it's the best I could find. It's got some dents on it. We're going to try and just knock those out a little bit, but that came in a little bit bashed about. Now it has got the whole metal, and the door card does get over covered, so that's good. So we're hoping we'll lose a little bit when that happens, but for the meantime we'll just mock that up. It's in two sections, so I've just screwed it to the top of the metal piece. It normally has little brass type rivet things, but we've not got them. Those screws countersink in enough, and with the covering on you won't see it. So that's just lining itself up quite well. We've just got to mark all the holes out now for the plastic trim clips. So once we've done that, we can put it back on the bench. But that's good. We're just marking out the holes, making sure everything lines up. A couple of holes don't seem to line up, not quite sure why, so I'll go from the back and just mark those. Let's see what we can do. But we're looking quite good there so far. Okie dokie, with all the holes routed out and everything ready to go, we can fit this with the contact adhesive all the way on, making note of where the adhesive faces were. There was some around that point. That'll glue on nicely. A little bit of hardboard to come off with that, and then it's just on the edges really. So I'll work the centre in first, and just we can position it a little bit as we go, but it's an Evo stick job or contact adhesive. Then we'll clean that when it's actually on here. It just gives it a better a way of cleaning it when it's attached, as opposed to just letting it all wrinkle up. So then we can just see how good we're going to get. It's all down to whether this damage here can be seen. We might be able to get away with that. Luckily most of it has survived. You can see the heavy sun damage down here, but obviously, as I said, with our paints that we've got here, look, here they are from Colour Bond. They mix that specially for me based upon this swatch that we sent them there, and that's a dye. It's not a paint, it actually soaks into the plastic, it actually dyes it, so you can't actually scratch it off. We use that on the seats as well to get all the proper matchings in. It helps that the material's already within that palette of colour, as opposed to try and build up from black or a darker colour like that. But you can do that, but yeah, it helps if the material that you get's already in that same colour as what you're painting it, just maybe a different shade, and that's alright. Like when I did my seats, and I had to match some parts in. For example, this here, this gaiter, that was not available in that colour, but it was available in a red similar to the fabric of the seats, and then that's been dyed, and you can see, look, it doesn't crinkle off. It's perfect, and that's using that Colour Bond system which we've used throughout the builds. Okay, so it's time now to find some Evo stick glue and just start getting this positioned up, ready to receive it onto its backing board. we've got all our fixing positions done, so we know how we're fixing the device down now. So we're good to go. It's just a question for me now to get the Evo stick onto this and start putting them clips back in there and rebuilding it. These can be washed down with some soapy water, then prepped up, cleaned and prepped up, and they just clip in. Some receptacle clips go into the metal cutouts of the back quarter, and these just snap into position. You lock down and push in. An interesting attachment system for that. I don't really know why they did it that way, why they didn't just come attached to the door card, but I suppose it's to create a strength, if you will. You could have used screws going through like some cars do, but locks down and clips in. It's additional attachment as well to the door card. We've routed out these shapes, and these shapes take the clip like this. In you go, out you go, and that gives you that. That's how you do those. So you've got to make loads of those. Okay, glue time, everybody. We're building up this back quarter door card. I call it a door card, I know it's not. A quarter card, if you will. Rear quarter card. Lots to do. Lots of gluing. Okay, our contact adhesive is on both faces of the cards, of the covering, and of the card itself there. So we'll just carefully push this to one side now, bearing in mind a little bit of glue just overspilled onto this workbench, but we're okay. We're going to lift that off and make sure it doesn't catch, but the contact adhesive soaks in. You've got a good few minutes, 10 minutes to set between it. I'll just check on the tin. Some's different than others. I'm just checking now. It is, let's have a look, contact 5 to 10 minutes. About 5 to 10 minutes on our, kindly supplied by our contact on the underground. He knows who he is. Ready to do that. So we'll just carefully move this one out of the way now. And we'll join those two together, and then once we've got those middle sections, those hidden middle sections on, we can then go around and do the edges, which are a lot easier to do. We just want to make sure this lines up. So critical little time as I reach across, grab this, and then we'll touch two faces together. Okay, the other face is doing, we're flipped up the other way round. GXL door cards then, very rare because GXL 2-door cards, very rare because, well, I've never seen many 2-door GXLs. They're the rarest one. Super Speed are rare, Savage are rare, Piranha are rare, 2-door GXL rare too. 2-door, 2222222. So just doing these other contact faces now. A little bit low on. Wow, the flashcard filled up and it stopped halfway through. So we're glued on. We are glued and screwed and ready to rock. Our new door card gets its vinyl pad top. The rear quarter card, we can call it. A door card still, I call it. I like to call it a door card, even though it's not on a door. It's glued on, tensioned up and looking quite nice. So we're now just using the vinyl clean 1 to 3 mix in some water there. Look, some lovely vitamin water. Wipe down till the cloth stops drawing the dirt off. Cloth off. And then for the killer, the vinyl prep. This needs a mask on, it's quite potent stuff, and that gets the surface ready to receive the paint, which is just over here. So really we've done everything we can do. The glue, do the glue, I've done it again. We do the glue, everything's down nice, everything's bonded, the card's looking solid. We're all ready to rock and roll. There's a couple of blemishes on it. I mean, it's a miracle this card survived, folks. You know, poor old Bramble had brambles attacking, especially at the rear. You look at those old videos when the brambles are crawling in and starting to attack and break down the car's internals, break down the plastics and the trim, stuff like this. It's a miracle that those brambles and the sills and the spare wings that were thrown in the back of the car resting upon the panels haven't perforated. There's no perforation anywhere on this card. We could get away with this. We've got out of jail for free with this one, I'm telling you. There's one little mark at the top, you can just see it showing up as some wrinkles there, where it looks like something's attacked it and the vinyl's sort of compromised, but there's not a lot I can do about that. I've tensioned it up the best that I can. So really I've done as much damage limitation on this card as what I think's possible. Okay, so now we clean and we get ready to paint, and we're going to live with a few blemishes simply because it's a miracle it even got out in one piece. Some wrinkling there and stuff like that as the cleaner starts to sort of take it up and the tension alters a little bit, but some of that's covered by the seat. It's actually not a massive area that's exposed. You can see the area that's exposed. It's UV'd out a little bit. All the way down there is covered by the seat. So you're going to see that strip, that top strip there, and down, and obviously this main central area, which has the wooden finishing bezel on it. So all in all, a good job for an amateur. Not bad. You know, we got there, and we're glued on, and look how lovely Paul's glue is. That 528 Evo stick, beautiful stuff there, delivering the goods time after time. We're very happy. So now it's the vinyl prep. Mask on for the vinyl prep, very strong stuff. That'll just key the area and get it ready to receive the dye. We're all clean really now with the vinyl clean itself. That just gets the surface ready. So we use foam cleaner first, then I went for vinyl clean, and now vinyl prep, and then we'll paint it. 2 coats should get us looking a nice universal colour. Let's see how it turns out. Oh, one door card, all nicely painted. And now our new trim to go on, or our refurbed trim, re-wood finished on that. That just slots in there, and we've got some little securing clips that just lock onto the pins at the back. These are the ones you have to pinch to get them out. Look at these pins there. They grip onto, hold on, let's not put that out of line. They grip on at the back. Where's our clips? They're just underneath. Here's one. So we snap them in onto those pins. They're a one-way clip. Have a look at that. Quite straightforward. So if I flip it over, I can just lock these on. That locks that on. Then we've got our ashtray to clip in. This has a fastener at the back, which I've had replated just because it was rusty. A little bit of foam to seal it in at the back, the factory seemed to have. Then there's a swivel receptacle. This wants cleaning. Little pin that locks it in at the bottom. And then there's this kind of like stub your cigarette out insert that goes here. Once we've cleaned that up, I'll show you that. Then it all assembles together, and then we have one chrome finishing door on the front which gets infilled with paint but leaves the chrome round the edge to make a nice final finish. So that bit's coming together on this door card. I know I keep calling it door card, quarter card. Okay, let's keep going on building this up. Let's make a nice job. We've got the armrest pad as well. This is exactly how it was. I've just washed it. You can see how good the paint match is on our paints. No, so that's a genuine Ford colour for Ruby. I know the white balance might not quite get it for you. A little bit rusty on its securing clips here. We'll have to clean those up. And then it's going to get a fresh paint anyway. But you can see how good the match is. So when we got this, I was showing you this just a little bit earlier. We got a good match. Clips on, ashtray in, little bit of refurb on the armrest, almost done. Okay, rear of the ashtray receptacle and our new, well not new but replated securing bracket that goes on. It's like a one-way bracket. You can't get them out. Nicely clips on, and some sealing tape at the back just to really keep it airtight. so I'm rattle free. That goes on, that's a nice job, look at that. Feast your eyes. Little details all the time on this car, everybody. There we go, clip that in there. There you go, that's nice. Yeah, feature. Now let's get this, look at this mucky. Let's get this cleaned up. There's a little stub your cigarette out inside liner that goes on that. Then the faceplate. Let's get the faceplate now. Okay, I'm just prepping up this the armrest pad for the back quarter card, using the vinyl cleaners we've just used on the main card itself, and it's coming up clean now. So we just look for, use a white toweling, then just look for any more dirt that's coming off, but we're clean there. So that's where are we? That's that one. You use that first, but before you do that, actually wash it with soapy water, then rinse it down, then use this vinyl clean. Then just to key the surface, you use the vinyl prep, and that's the stuff you've got to do outside or with a mask on. Okay, and that just opens the pores of the plastic and gets it ready to receive the dye. It really does help last longer if you use the vinyl prepping. Don't just spray onto an unprepared area. So it needs that stage just to get the good results. Okay, so this pad's in pretty good order. It just needs the clips cleaning, and this securing clip here is broke off. We've got a spare one, so we're going to reattach that. So we're going to paint it as well now. Paint and clean the inside part there. Here's the card painted with a trim piece on it, so we're okay there. And then we've got this just been in the sink. Whoops, that's just been in the sink, so wipe that down. And then we're just getting ready the covering for it there. It's all coming together now. We're nearly through the first door card, and this is the second door card. A little bit more raggy than the first one, and it's got a mouse hole in it there, but luckily that's under the seat. So we've got our second template cut, our second door card template cut. We'll offer it up to the car before we attach the vinyl, so we'll work this into the car's rear quarter to make sure everything lines up, and then we'll do the actual glue of the material to the card, same as we did just before. Just a few seconds away for you, I think that it's the next day for me. So ×2, and then up here by our lovely calendar, and we're perfectly able to show this, is the the ashtray department. Look at these lovely clips I've had done. Just finished the job nicely. And then we've got these just going off in lacquer, just because it's an area that you touch. So I've got them lacquered up, and the backing pieces for them, so they fit together nicely into there. They fit there, and that's that arm pad, the second arm pad. So we are nice here. We're very nice here indeed. Look, re-chromed. Let's get you away from that light. Re-chromed. Let's take you away from that. Re-chromed, then painted in, then just lacquered in. So a nice piece there to go in the door card. Okay, not the best lighting for us, so we just got to carry on really, battling our way through, and we shall do it. Let me stamp out all these cutouts, and we can get everything in nicely. We've got some lovely wood trim. Got wood, lovely wood trim to go on. We'll be right back with you. Quarter card rebuild in episode 38. I'm enjoying it. This is good fun. got to be really careful when we do this, folks. We don't want to damage any trim or any carpet and stuff like that. So here's that card. Let's have a see. Oh, boom! Yeah! Oh, a beautiful fit. Real beautiful fit. Yeah! So no problems with that. All lined up with those little oblong holes there too. So it's time now to attach the metal capping to it so we can get the proper position. That's important to do. So it's metal capping time now, and we attach it to this here. So there's a little bit of drilling because these are. I hope you can see me because I've not got the viewfinder on. It should be all right there. Because these cards are obviously homemade, there could be some tolerance differences between the metal cappings. Now the metal cappings are normally pressed into at the Ford factory, they're pressed into the boarding and then crimp riveted together. We're just screwing ours, but because there could be slight differences, we're going to have to put the metal capping on, then move this into what looks like the best position, and then screw the metal capping into this wood. Well, you actually screw through the wood into the back of the metal capping lip. It goes straight through this piece, then you make an oversized hole so that the screw ends, obviously we cut them down, but so that they can touch through and they don't get in the way. So that's it, because we haven't got those press rivets to rivet the metal capping of this on. So we position it all like we did with the other card, get it all looking something like right around these points on these oblongs, and then screw the capping to it, and that locks it in place, because the relative positions, those oblongs for the slot-in door handle and the aperture for the cigarette ashtray doesn't matter. It's mainly this and keeping that parallel there, which I think we're going to be able to do. So I get the metal capping now. Are we still rolling? I get the metal capping now, and we position it all up. It's a small drill bit, some self-tappers, and we set it up. So we've done one side, we're doing this side. See you in a sec. Right, here's the metal capping that we actually powder coated. They were looking rather rusty when I sent them in. So one refurbed or powder coated capping for the door card has these little hooks at the top. That one's broke off, and they hook into the top of the quarter panel. We're going to have to attach a hook to this because we need them. They form part of the securing mechanism for it, so they are prone to breaking. You don't get many chances. There they are, little tang hooks. This one broke, so we're going to come up with a way now to make a little hook on there. We'll do that next. Folks, join me, join these hands as we do the second card now. Glue going on to the second quarter card, alright? All marked out, all drilled, all riveted. The metal plate topping piece fitted and done. A little securing tang not punched out with a screwdriver and bent back. Made a securing tang at the top of the card. It can grip the top of the door. Had to drill a new hole. Hooks in, no problem. Lined up, ready. We're pumped up, we're raved up. We're really giving it some rave music this time. We're really going for the rave music now. Yeah, that goes on. Just got to put the contact adhesive on this side of the receiving side. A little bit of new foam just gone in there just to help with the collapse foam at the top. All non-runners for collapse paddock. Off we go. Okay, from bench to car in less than 60 seconds. We're in. It's paid off and it's worked. Some very light wrinkles, but we've got away with it really. It could have been a disaster, the door card, simply because of the condition that they were in, but I think that we've really got away with that. The padding, the quilting sort of has a wrinkle effect. Looking at previous pictures before I restored them, they did have that wrinkle, and then I think when the paint's gone on it perhaps tightened it and loosened it a little bit in some places, but the important top section's pretty wrinkle free. This side, the top's probably a little bit better, pretty wrinkle free. Down, lower down, it's got a little bit of bunching on the padded corners, but I'm going to live with it simply because you'll never get them cards, and they were bad. And I think, you know, when the seats are in, you lose quite a bit on that side, on the right hand side as you're looking at it now. A little bit of creasing just below the wood panel there, a little bit difficult, but having said all of this, I think we got away with it. So pretty pleased with how that's gone. So they're all in and we're off. You could probably, I might even be able to get that little crease below the wooden trim panel out by removing the wooden panel and just pinching it up, and I could staple behind the wooden panel and just pinch that a little bit tighter if I wanted, but it's kind of like a self-enclosed pocket, if you will, so there's not a lot you can do with those. They're like little pockets. The top I managed to just stretch, and just with the Evo stick, I'll use rare use of the zoom, managed to get it. You can see there, it looks quite nice. Okay, a little bit underneath, but I'm not an upholsterer, not a trimmer. I'm surprised that I got that far, to be fair. I didn't even think I'd get it that much. The factory screws are in. They have factory screws down the right hand side following the wheel tub arch curvature, and one in the top right hand corner. They have silver screws in like that. They do have a cup behind them, and I can't find the little cups that go in. We need to find those, like a sort of little recessed cup that the screw sits in. We've held it in place with those for now, but when I can't finally come to fit them, because I'm going to be putting polythene behind the back, these are coming off. The armrest pads, I've repaired those. The little mounting studs broke off those. I've used some screw heads and they work the same way. What you do is you push up on the arm pad and withdraw it. It kind of like locks itself into the metal of the car. It's got these little clips which I've riveted in, which are factory. Just I took them out for when the car got dipped so they didn't dissolve. You push, there's two studs on the arm rest and two locating tabs, and you push down and it locks together. That's great because that access panel can be taken off to get to the cruise. And we're going to make a little velcro strip flap on the polythene so that you can unvelcro it, get your hand in for the cruise. So that'll have a service hatch in it. This side will just be polythened up and sealed for life. So great, I'm very happy about that. Could have gone wrong and it hasn't. I'll take you around the other side now. Here's this side. Again, a little wrinkle below the arm pad on this card, a little bit better up below the wood on this side. So a mixed bag. This one probably slightly more creases in the top piece, but like I said, considering what we had and in the greater scheme of things, they'll blend in nicely. Here's a little trip of the cigarette tray. Push in, open out. You see the nice detail there, all refurbed. A little bit shinier simply because I lacquered those. With this chrome, this whole chrome, the paint doesn't like to stick to it as good as it would on bare plastic. So I sealed it in with some lacquer, which gives it a nice little touch, makes them slightly lighter. Funnily enough, it's the same paint, it's just as soon as you lacquer it, it becomes a different shade. It's funny how it works. It's exactly the same colour that's gone onto the door cards. So, quarter cards. Anyway, in the greater scheme of things, I've achieved a 90% hit rate on those, which is what I aim for. Perfection is just out of I gotta go backwards. It's just out of reach sometimes, and again, there's that level that we talk about, where we say, where do you stop? How far do you go? You can crack yourself up over it. What can I do with these cards? They're sealed in those little pockets and they're welded in, plastic welded in with the foam in the middle of it, and if that wrinkles, there's not much, nowhere you can really go except start getting a blade and making incisions inside and trying to puff them out a little bit. But we don't want to do that. It's I'm not going that far. I'm just happy that we've got salvageable cards which look good. They're smart enough, they don't look terrible, you know, they're smart enough, they're going to do what we want. And when the seat goes in, it's going to break them up a little bit even more. So the next job is to make the backing cards now for the bulkhead firewall. And I'm going to use, there's two types of card that they did curiously on Cortinas. Earlier on they just had the card on the inside of these two support bars, and you could lose things behind the back, so stuff in the boot could land and fall down in this recess here. I'm going to come in and show you what I mean. You could lose stuff there because the card is here. Then later on they put the card on this side and shaped it with these curves over this metal panel here, and like a flap came down and it landed on this. But I'm going to do it twin. I'm going to do a card on the inside and a card on the outside. I'm going to put soundproofing material between the two, so we're going to make a sort of laminate there. I've done that on Ruby. This gives you extra soundproofing because it can get noise coming through that quite easy. Okay, so that's good. We're all good to go. I think what I'm going to do now, the pressure's off a little bit and I feel a little bit relieved, because what I like to do to settle in my mind is know that I've broken it, you know that I've cracked it. This, up until yesterday, this card situation was an unknown quantity. It was, can it be done? It wasn't when it's going to get done, it was more, can it be done? Are we going to lose a card? Is it going to look bad? Are they not going to work? Are they not going to fit? Are they not going to support themselves? All those kind of questions, because it was an unknown quantity. We were stepping into ground which I didn't know the answers to. Only when I'd gone through it, glued them, evo sticked them, put them together, painted them, did I know that I've got something which is presentable. And that's a big weight off my mind. It really was weighing heavy on my mind, this, because it's such an important part of the interior. The seats themselves are a no-brainer because they're already done, and what I've got with them is what I've got. There's nothing I can do. The seats are covered, and however he's done it is how it's going to be. And they do look pretty good. There may be some sagging on them, there may be some wrinkles here and there, but what he's got, apart from the odd little tweak I could do by maybe tightening a little bit if they've sagged or anything's changed on them, but they are done. So that's not an unknown quantity, so it doesn't concern me. The door cards, because I didn't really know, we're rambling, aren't we? It was in my mind thinking, can it be done? How is it going to get done? Is it going to work? And it has, and they fit perfectly. So another indicator that the shell's good, because the card follows the line as it should do, and it fits very snugly, so nothing's changed. Don't forget we had a wheel tub out this side, and these cards are taken exact copies from the original cards, and everything's fitted. Nothing's had to be altered, cut, changed. It just worked. So it means that the car's, you know, we know it's straight anyway, but it just backs it up that it's all good. And it's nice when something falls into place like that. The cards basically just did fall into place, and I know it works properly because the armrest pads, the little eyelets that the studs of the armrest pads locate into, and you push down and it locks together, just went straight in, clunk, and it landed in the recess of the door card foam surround without any problem. Again, showing that we're in the zone. Okay, maybe there's a couple of mil here and there, but let's not be harsh on ourselves here. We've done a blooming good job, and it's not often I have these moments where I do feel relieved. I think the last one was when the dash went in and I got it working. Then I felt very relieved after that, because that could have gone wrong too. Again, you're against the bulkhead, which had been heavily altered, with the exception of bringing the dash out just a touch and shifting the console out. I think that's worked to our advantage because the console's not under any tension. It's fitting in a lot neater, less squeaky than the standard Cortina with all that compression that you get on them, and the fact that it's just moved out obviously to accommodate the thicker wires hasn't been a problem at all. Everything fits in, so great. I can take a breather. Seatbelts next to sort out. I'm going to get the seatbelts fitted, and I can really cruise a little bit. The pressure is off. So what I'm going to do, as usual, because we've achieved this milestone here, I'm going to tidy up all the tools. So thanks for the support as always and being with me through this. We're not ending the vid, by the way, but I felt like I just want to share some joy with you, that you're with me when this has worked. You're with me and the quarters are in. The door cards themselves, could they be a problem? We don't know. That's the next hurdle, but they're not going to be as difficult to do as those, I'm sure, even though that the bigger, those were an unknown item. The door cards themselves, they just snap on with the clips. You can get to the door card. I think the vinyl's good. We're going to have to check it out, but anyway, that's for another day. For now it's tidy time. Put some music on while I tidy up, and then I'll get some photos, and I'm going to retire early, do a bit of browsing on YouTube, and just take it easy just for tonight. It's Friday, the 1st of May, I think. I'll catch you in a sec. Okay, we're on with this next door card. I think 38 is coming to a close soon, but we've got everything in. Seats are in there. They've squashed in a little bit when I've pushed them in. Some of the wrinkles in the cards we're never going to get rid of, and the seat's slightly compressed just because I've put the carpet up the inner of the door card there. Maybe if I trim that carpet back, it won't be, the seats just squashed in, but I used some silicone spray to let them slide in, but they're okay, they're looking good. So we've tidied up, cleaned up, just got to fit the rest of the runner rails on that adjustable seat, the cables and the rest of the stuff, and then 2 seats can go in as a mock-up. Cars there, floor's tidy, but we have got this other door card, well, 2 more of these are door cards now. So we start to strip back, and I can see this one is pretty good, some creasing in the bottom where the card's damaged there, look, but it's not punctured. What a miracle. Overspray from Bramble's orange paint job, or yellowish paint job. But the important thing about this card is that I hope it's going to be a good fit, and also it's not damaged. Across the top there, that vulnerable area looks alright to me. So as long as it can withstand the paint process without wrinkling. See, that paint normally doesn't wrinkle it, but because this vinyl's so old, it's up against it, it could wrinkle. I'm hoping that it won't. We'll have to just see and be really careful with it. Okay, so, and also with the vinyl prep, just to be careful with that. It's pretty strong stuff. So all about just making sure we can get this in one piece. Obviously we've got to get some backing board, hardboard, and do our usual template cutout. We'll get right into this now. Let's get it out of the way. Okay, we've separated these with no damage. Damp the card, warm water and soap. Wash the card down. Whilst you're washing the card down, use that opportunity to just get the hardboard soaking a bit. That starts to make the separation of the glue. See how it's bonded on? You can tear it, and I just did it by going from the top and coming down nicely like that. Just keep the creases to a minimum, then unfolded it off. So that left us there quite nicely. So that we can now use this template here. We'll hang this back out to dry because the foam's got wet. But once that's dried and stuff, it won't be for a few days. We can start making the hardboard. We've got to separate the metal off here. Quite easy to do, it's just punching on these stamps. And then we've got a card to lay down and copy like we did with the rear cards. Okay, so that's going well so far. No damage on this vinyl. Whether or not this wrinkles remains to be seen. I think it's better than the back ones were. There are some little creases in it. We'll do the best we can do. Let's go. Okay, well, join us on the sky cam up there in the roof. Quite an easy operation once you nicely soak down the card to separate off the vinyl, and that came off just as we wanted. So draw through onto your hardboard. It's pretty much speaks for itself. We do what we did with the rears. Jigsaw time now, and then I've marked out the centres for the clips, the push stud clips. These are the push stud clips which we took off. So really, it is just a duplicate procedure. These are a bit bigger, these cards, but really, there's not much else we can say except to get jigsawing, get chiseling, get jigging, get chiseling, and we'll get these cards up and running. Hopefully be able to get the covering on this session now. We'll catch you in a sec. Jigsaw time. Okay, just doing the routing out. I'll just give you some little tips if you ever build a door card yourself. Here's the stud mounting clips. This is how they go on. Right, so we're fitting there by just sliding in. Can you see that? But to make the holes for them to fit to, I use a spot weld drill bit. Boom and boom, because a normal drill bit will try to flare up the card and sort of chew the edges up, and then you can't neatly slide the clips in. So if you use the hole cutter, I was going to put the light on then, but if you use the hole cutter, you get a neater hole. That's a spot weld drill bit cut. I think it's 8mm. That just happened to be the right size. And the next size up is a spade bit. I used 14 and went in pretty quick, holding the pressure down, because it'll try again, even with these spade bits, it'll try and chew the edges and you don't get a neat edge. And then if it's not neat, the way that this clip works, it won't slide in, it'll catch all the rough edges. So you've got to be somewhere in the zone like that. I use a blade if there are any rough edges and just scrape back on the blade. Then we're getting these nice neat keyhole type cutouts there, if you can see them, so we can now refit all our clips. These shapes will be dead easy to do. In fact, while you're on, just to give you some drill action, in the middle we go there. Do those. These are for the screw holes for the arm pad, so they don't need to be critically the same size, but we use the 20mm hole cutter for those. Looking neat already, isn't it? Let's step you back so you get a bit of a better perspective. That's it. So this is the passenger side door card we're doing at the moment. Okay, there's your window winder cut out. Don't think I've got a hole saw that big. We'll have a look, but we can might get a jig round. I'll see what I've got in stock for that. These will chisel out. 2 little holes to drill there. That's for the briefcase handle. They're dead easy. Spade bit will go on those. Oh no, we'll use this. Look, straight in. Boom! Hell yeah! So pretty much you can have yourself in like what, half an hour. You've got yourself a door card. That's not bad going. That's it. Now, obviously, we've got to get the vinyl onto it, and we've got to get the metal capping onto it. Okay, so that'll be a separate job. The metal capping's just down there. We've got a mark. Here it is. Look, we've got a mark. Now we can either file off those ones. We can either file off these, or we can use that hole cutter and let them sit in. Because I put screws through the front of this into the back of the metal. That's how I attach them on the rear door cards. Here we could, if we wanted, we could bond it on, and some screws. There's just enough room for the screw head to sit flush, but then the back of the screw pops out the back, so you have to drill the door where the screws are popping out the back, so that it all slots on. It does work. Or we could find some brass eyelet rivet type things. That would be probably better. But I'm just working out whether or not I want to put this on. If I'm going to do that, what I'll do, I'll clip this to the door first, then fit this cap, because if you get the relationship between this card and the metal capping wrong, the whole thing's not going to sit right on the door. So you're better off mocking this up on the door, which we've got outside, like this and just getting it to sit right before we make any firm attachments. And then when it is sat on the door, we'll put a couple of clips in it just to hold it in place. Then I'll send a couple of screws through and that will lock that to that, then we'll work out how we're going to attach it. Because at the moment these are all raised up, they need either grinding off or the hole making so that they poke through, but they're not going to grip because these are one-way affairs really. We might be able to close them up, but I reckon by the time you try and reopen them, they're going to break. It's worth a try. We may be able to just get these and bend them, because on the other cards I had, they were rotted off, they weren't even there, they're just like all rusted away. This one is actually in good order, so you could possibly get long nose and we could attach it that way, but we'll have to see. Not made my mind up about it. It's not a mega critical thing. Tiger seal along there, beaded tiger seal, grind all those off, beaded tiger seal, clamp it in place, just as good, just as strong. Although probably the best way is how I did the back cards, is screw through, because then you've got a physical fixing. The tiger seal could tear off the back, I suppose. It's not going to when it's all on the car, because it's all uses the door frame itself to kind of like support its own weight, if you know what I mean. It's all sort of clamped on the frame of the door card. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is it's going really great. We're going to carry on chiseling, drilling, and just making this ready to prepare for mocking up on the door, then marking out. We'll see you in a sec. Door card then, 38 part 2. Okay, we'll fast forward for you. Now it's time for glue. Just the contact adhesive. Touch dry. Then bring the two pieces of our lovely refurb door card going well. All I've got to do is coat and get high. We'll be right back when we put these two halves together. Okay, with a contact adhesive on both sides, we're ready to place these two pieces together. Tricky, tricky, tricky. It's worked on the other card though, so let's hope we can get a repeat performance of this. Look how we've attached the metal strip to the card instead of using the push through retainers, the sort of snap rivet, not snap rivets, that's kind of like a spike that pokes through and then the machine must crimp it down. Obviously a one-way operation can't be done, so we lined it up with some alignment holes that are already in the template and then screwed through. The other side of the screws I will grind off. So that's everything there really. We're just going to get this together now. And very carefully, I'll start from the top, slowly bring it down. I won't let these faces touch just yet. I'll have the angle of this vertical but pointed back a little bit, so that it's draping slightly off. Then I'll just come at the bottom and check that we're all fitting. I've already mocked it up and then, you know, trial fitted it. I had to trim a little bit in this corner, it was just a bit tense in that corner. We've got a hairdryer on standby if we need it, but we think we'll be okay. So really, it's ready to put these together. I might stick you on the tripod so you can watch me struggle. Here we go. Okay, start there. I reckon that this is probably one of the last tricky jobs in the whole project. It's just one of them, you know, you don't know where you quite are jobs. Somebody done some door card wrong song. It's another somebody did a door card wrong song. No, it's not. It's going to work. We're going to lift up. I go out of shot now, but that's better for you. Okay, so we've got it. We're just going to clip underneath there, drape down and try and hook underneath the front. We don't need this protective matting just yet. We'll stick that under the desk. Close up that box. Let's give ourselves a little bit of room. Move the drill down to base level because it's heavy. Boxes are sorted. Screws not needed. Just I've vacked the bench down a little bit as well. So I'm grabbing this just off your screen. Bring it across. Here you go. There you go. And the most critical thing is to line up the locking pin. The locking pin. So tilt it to me. There's the locking pin. You can just about see that locking pin hole there, touching it there. So we don't want this touching that, but we want that. I mean, really, it lines itself. But so I'm hooking on at the top. Luckily, this is another undamaged door card. Can you believe? After all that time, okay, 1983 in that field, all that time, the brambles that came into the car as well. Think about those trees, twigs and brambles that came attacking the car. Look back through the recovery video if you've not seen the amazing recovery of the car. But how did these door cards get through without a single, even the back ones? There's one puncture mark on the back door card. But that's not even from, I think that's from the seat. I mean, yeah, the door cards at the back were soaking wet, so you got some ripples in them. These survived a bit better, but despite all of this, the car door cards have not punctured. Incredible, really. They've been in some, really harsh environment. Okay, so now I'm going to feed this in. There's a little ridge and it just clips under that ridge. It's going in as I go like that. It's pre-formed just to go under the metal lip. And that metal lip's locked in the top of the door, metal door. The car's door itself. So width-wise then, this hand just off screen, but there, come across, hang on. I'm watching on the monitor so I can try and see what you're seeing. This one, nicely tucked round, and so's that one. So both ends, okay, both ends, up here, both ends, they're in all right, and we're nicely tucked in at the top, look. So look, and there's no ripples or tears in that. Let's just hope the paint doesn't wrinkle, it shouldn't do. Right, so I've allowed that to make contact, which I shouldn't have done. Leave that hanging, look, and then we're going to try and find our way down. Now obviously it's going to touch. There's not a lot you can do, so what we're going to do is slowly feed it downwards, get in the edges and going down. Now I haven't glued those edges yet, I'll tell you why in a minute, but I just want to get the middle bit set. And I'm looking now at some of the holes. You don't need to glue the edges just yet in case something goes wrong, okay? We're looking for getting it to come down and land on those middle sections first. Like this. And when we're happy under its own weight, it's not going to crease itself up, just go down, feed that in. This is where we've got the contact adhesive on these embossed shapes. Let it go outwards, move anything that might be trying to crease it towards the edges. You can always do a bit of magic at the edges. What you can't do is the middle. So, flat onto the deck, looking for the main visible areas, alright? So that's now taken and everything's lined up. Okay, these can drift a little bit, we know that. Don't forget those cardboard templates that I had, let's get you one. These have been soaked so they could have swelled. So you know, you're going to get some drifting on this. The main thing is to get the keyholes lined up, those ones. That's a keyhole there. Now we put the card onto a scrap door, so I know that they're in line, bare minimum anyway. Now we're going to see if we're alright at the bottom, because we can still reset this if we want. Look, this will still come up if we need to, as we now head towards these outside edges and see what we're going to get. And that one's just snapped in nice, a little bit short at that edge, but it's going to stretch. I think just about. Hairdryer next if we have to. Look, that corner, this was damaged, this corner, in terms of the hardboard was crumbled away, so that's took to its shape good. Slight indentation there, but it's not punctured through. Will this end go in? This end clips in too. We're in. Slight wrinkle as it pinches it up there. We might be able to work that, or it could be that the wood. No, there is an inbuilt wrinkle in this at that end, but not anything terrible. This end certainly is perfect. So what we're going to do is the edges now. So now I'm going to apply the adhesive to the remaining edges, knowing that this is okay in that position there. Bringing it up to the top. Some of the little pinholes for the trim are drifted a little bit, but what the main thing is that this top's correct. These can always be routed out if we had to. I'll show you what I mean. Look, some of those ones, see how they're not quite lining up there? There'll be some drift on that, but they're not critical. Those pins do move. That's for the wooden trim piece. There's plenty of tolerance with that. A little bit again on the window winder, but you'll probably find, again, we can route out. Do we want to pull down? Is that the reason why? We look at this tension now and just see, but I don't think so. You start to do that, you start to get the creases coming into it. The opener handle there. We could tension down a little bit perhaps. I mean, I could try it. I don't really want to, but because we're ahead here and there's no wrinkles in it, I think it's really probably better to accept that some of the wood alignment isn't quite there, that we'd rather Dremel that out than trying to stretch this to suit, considering that there's no wrinkles in it. And after them rear door cards, which were pre-wrinkled, but you know, it didn't go any better when I assembled the card. I just don't want to go into trying to alter the shape of this. I like it to settle with its own natural crease-free situation, with the exception of maybe tensioning up this corner I can see. I'll bring you in, I'll show you what I mean. This corner then, up to the top for you, just there. And this is where the corner was damaged, so this was flapping in the car over the years, and it's created its own little natural crease there. We're going to try and draw that out and stretch that out with a hairdryer, and obviously the contact adhesive will be on the faces of the both sides, so we can just hairdryer it, pull a little bit, just see if we can get rid of those remaining wrinkles. Okay, right, I'm not going to film gluing the edge of that, but we'll be right back. Door card then, the last one. Wow, that'll be the last of the trim because the seats are done. Back seats are in. We're getting close, all the fiddly jobs out of the way. I won't need the assembly table anymore. Got to be really, really careful as well. Non-stop thinking of the car being right behind me. Been no problems yet, but one false move, boom. Okay, it's going good, and this is the last bit. We've managed to tension up both corners without any creases. So just finalising on this last run here, little bit of tension and just folding over, just bringing it in, watching it as I go before I do the final seal, making sure that I don't introduce a wrinkle that wasn't already there. You really have to let the contact adhesive be almost dry. So much easier then. Don't try and do it when it's still gooey, because you don't get that quick snap action that you need for something like this, when you need it to really grab hold and lock when you've got that awkward wrinkle and corner out of the way, and you've just got it nicely pulling on the foam, so you get a nice pingy sound, nice and tense, you know, all tightly fitted. And if you want, you can just run your fingers back under, making sure you've no glue on your fingers on the top side that you're using, and that's it, we're in. I think we got away with murder there. I'll bring you off. Okay, so this was the corner that was heavily damaged, or I say had built-in wrinkles, and you can see just that little pinch there. We might even be able to twist that out. That glue's still pliable. Down the edge, no problems. Round this corner, in, grabbed in. There's the original respray mark. So you can see that that vinyl's probably pulled a little bit. That would have been more probably on the edge of the card, but there's plenty of overlap. So we're in there. Nice around those areas. A little bit of an indentation there. That'll be just wear and tear over what, a 50-year-old door card you've got there, folks. Let's step back and have a look. I'll just grab and then let it land on the felt. There we go. We've got away with it, and we've got the other one done too. Little crease just around the locking point, but again I can just massage that out now. And some creases would have been in from day one, to be fair. You know, they weren't Rolls Royce cards. I mean, yeah, they probably on the whole would be very flat, quality control of course, but you know, how far do you go again? But these luckily were nothing like as bad as them rears, and you think these would be harder to do, but because Bramble's window was smashed all those years or missing, and it had rained in, particularly on the driver's side card that suffered, even though it replaced the backing hardboard, the vinyl itself had took such a beating that it was just, I just couldn't get it to go. The other thing to remember if you do this is do not let glue get on to the actual visible face of the card from the back when you're gluing it, because the glue can break the vinyl down and melt through it if you're not careful. We're okay, I'll just show you the back side now. But it will attack the vinyl eventually, you know, especially when it's still wet. But there we go, we're on, we're in, we're all done. We've got ourselves a door card. All we've got to do now is paint these. We'll clean them next, then paint them. Got to get this off. This could be fun, but we are over painting it, but could really take that off. Don't want to put thinners on it, so we've got to get that yellow paint off. Don't know how we're going to do it, but you can see under the lens of the camera there that we're pretty straight, aren't we? Two little bubbles there, can you see? Don't know what they're from, nothing I've done. I wouldn't have thought, unless that's glue that's managed to get through the foam and attacked it. It's possible. It's possible. They could have already been there. I don't know, but you've got to watch for that. It's possible. On the whole, though, we're getting away with it. You just got to be really careful with the glue. Don't let it pool up and form a puddle, and that's when it'll start attacking it. That could be what that was. It's possible. Maybe. I doubt it, but you never know. So you just got to be careful how you do it. We've got away with that one. I think we can live with that. Okay, we're going to get it cleaned up. We're going to get it painted. Got plenty of paint left. So, and then we can fit the trim pieces. We'll have the briefcase handles to paint. And of course the arm pads, the armrest pads. Then we can put these into stores waiting for when we fit the doors to the car. See you in a sec, we're doing good. Okay, it's vinyl clean, dissolved in water, 1 to 3, and just to prep this surface. So we go for that, clean cloths, and as soon as it keeps on coming up clean, you're good to go. And then outside we have to do this vinyl prep, or a mask on in here, very, very potent stuff. Vinyl prep you've got to be really careful with. It keys the surface of the vinyl ready to take the paint, and just takes off the last bits of any stubborn stains. Be really careful with it though. Vinyl preps penetrates into the vinyl, so you've got to be really, just brush it over lightly. It can attack vinyl, so be careful. So just take it easy. Use a test piece if you want. I know the limits with it. So keep on going for these, ready for the paint soon. Here we go, everybody, here we go. Isn't this fun? Bringing these back to life then, everybody. Bramble's door cards survived. Look on the video, look how the interior was covered in weeds and brambles and everything else, and these cards survived. Wow. I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Woo! Well, as usual, I have no idea whereabouts we are and in what episode we're actually in. I reckon it's probably episode 38, but I could be wrong. Could be 38 too. Who knows? But we have done the door card. Come down, let's have a look. So it's worked out very nicely. Very nicely. We've got some beautifully restored handles here, look. Complete with a nice wooden inlay. Non-factory. Train spotters, switch off your sets right now. Okay, so here's the card. Here's one of the cards that we did. Here's a twirl. Gives a twirl. What 70s game show said give us a twirl? Is anyone out there is tuned in? Maybe Peter Barker knows. Who knows? Maybe the rest of the Patreons know. Give us a twirl. And not shut that door, but give us a twirl. All I've got to do is attach the arm pad to this, and then this you probably notice that I'm a bit more relaxed now, and you can understand why I wouldn't have been, why I didn't get washed, why I didn't have a shave, why other things didn't happen but they did. It's because I wanted to do the door cards and get them out of the way. You're in the Bramble, don't you worry about that. I wanted to get them out of the way, and I was anxious about them, like you would be. Such a game changer for the interior. You know, we do all of that work, and then the game cards, the door cards mess up, but they haven't. All we've got to do is attach the pad and turn that radio down. I'm not getting striped with this, no way. Goodbye, George. Right, so those just screw on at the back, that's dead easy. But have a look, folks, at the card themselves, close up and personal. And we got away with it. Minimal damage, in fact, there isn't any damage. There's a couple of small creases. Let's keep it between you and me, everybody. Don't tell those concourse judges about those. You know we'll be going to shows. Okay. Will Bramble start racking up them trophies? What did we get last year? Talking of trophies. I normally keep it low profile, but seeing that you're on, and we're celebrating, and it's nearly the end of the lockdown as well. Rumours on the 10th or the 11th that they might let 5 people out, who knows? Anyway, those trophies. Ruby hoovered up last year, about 20. Most of them first place. Did quite good. Swampy, Ruby for 2 years on the run, I'm sure. Swampy had a few as well. Ruby wins. Let's hope Bramble hoovers up as well. Gotta be in it to win it. Right, so there we go. That's nice. Well, we're going to end the film here. We've got another door card to do. It's already done. I just need to put the wooden trim bit on it and dig out a few more parts and screw the armrests on. So I'm going to finish early. Then I'm going to go and do some editing. And I'm going to thank you once again that it's been a great trip. You'll notice the desk is now gone and we're starting to gain space. Come down before we close the film. We don't like to end abruptly, do we? Sometimes they do, and I apologise for that. It's simply the way the edit works. But let's try and come down nicely in this long episode. I believe it's probably a 2-hour film, this one. Along we go. I hope not special. As he takes that, I don't often do it. Oh, your head goes all weird when you do these selfie stick things. I'm not very good with them. Anyway, here's the car. Actually, it's quite a good idea, Mr. Ian Seabrook. Thank you for the suggestion of. No, he didn't suggest it, but Ian does do this, and so does little Newt as well. He's a fan. Look, here you are. Let's go inside and have a look
at the dashboard and what we got up to. The seats are in. I don't really think it's changed a mega amount. We've done those we've coded in those kick panel mop packets. It's not a mop packet, it's a map pocket. Mop packet. No, map pocket, you Dumbo. That has now been keyed into the correct colour. They were too light. Even though they're okay, they were in this seat material. But now they're coloured in to the correct seat material colour. Because when the door card went up, as Lee Holmes said, you get this heavy contrast. Interestingly, on Bramble's strip down videos, as parts 1, 2 and 3 on the strip down videos, or inspection and then strip down 1 and 2, the pockets, the map pockets, these are remade ones, and not Bramble's. Bramble's had it, they're finished, they're gone. They were a slightly different shade than the door card, but a different shade than the seats. So it's just the way the fabric is on those. They come out a different shade. It's strange, and these are a different shade than the door card, even though it's exactly the same paint that I used. So it just goes to show that the material, backing colour and things like that affect the shade of the paint. You'd think you'd put the paint on and that'd be it, but it just depends what's behind it, even after layers and layers. Interesting. Little bits of fluffy clouds have drifted in from outside off the trees. I'll have to hoover those up. They're quite nice. It looked like it was snowing. So it's old hat, all that, isn't it? It's all old hat. The boot's on, but I think you already saw the boot on. We'll start at this end soon. Oh, the jack's done. If you want to have a little look, the jack's done. It's got the date code, and I've got the Formoco label. I did see one jack Formoco'd up. It was a bit smaller text than that, but I've put that on there anyway to jazz the jack up a little bit. The yellow dot, why did I stick that on there for? To mark it, because I had two jacks and I didn't want to mix them up for some reason. One, that's the better jack, the other one had more corrosion and pitting on the handle. I'll pull that yellow sticker off now. It was just so I knew what I was doing. Also, this electrical sticker labels, they've got to go on some of the wiring looms, but we're not much to do in the boot. It's quite an easy job. Nice closing on the boot, and good gap lines, by the way, and good coach lines on the boot. It matches up. This one's just the rubber setting, but you get it. As soon as you close that down, the rubber needs setting and the catch needs setting, but you've got something to go off there. Okay, just looking nice. I can move across a little bit. If you adjust the catch, we can get that just a little bit more, and then close up. This one's a little bit wide, see, look. So we just want to come across on the catch, and the catch just makes the boot go across. That's no problem. We'll do that. Beautiful paint, and everything's looking good. Oh, we've got the interior light switches on, and these are the feeds for the puddle lamps. They're in because when we had the kick pillars, mat pockets, kick pillars, he's asked it again. The mat pockets were out. We needed to fit the wires in and route them for those grommets that go here into the doors that feed the puddle lamps, and a special surprise as well that's going in the door. We've got two more hockey sticks to fit with a wood trim on them to finish that off. Got to colour code these in. These get colour coded in the red with either a decal or a small piece of aluminium that's coated, and it'll be stuck on because there's too much chrome there. Looks nice, but just wants a little tiny detailing putting in. We've been in here before, but a good way to wrap. We'll catch you on episode 39, I reckon, when we start doing the brake lines. The seats won't fit because we've got to go and get the headlining done. There's a little bit, I might be able to tighten up these seats just a little bit, because when we put them in, they've squashed. Look, can you see that? That's compressed against here because I've got too much carpet coming in at the side, which has crushed the bolster. But really, that needs to tension back. I'm wondering if I can get that. I can get the trimmer to tighten that up. I think that's what I'll do. That's because they were all right till I crushed them into the car, and you can see why this bottom of this card is protruding out, because I've got the carpet tucked behind it. Basically, just crushed it in a little bit. Might be able to trim that and work that, but
on the whole, I mean the back ones are fine. A little bit of work may be needed just to get that seat a little bit tighter, a little bit better. But considering what we're up against, we're doing really well. Room to step back because the desk has gone. Room for contemplation. But yeah, these seats just want that setting up. I can see it on the camera. That side's okay. This side, as I say, just needs these. We might have to get the hairdryer on them. Might have to tighten it up a little bit. Might have to pinch back on this maybe. Needs a little touch. Backs are good. Happy with them. Okay, so that's it. We'll catch you on 39. As always, thanks for the support and being with us through the dark times. We're nearly out of it. We're nearly out of it. Catch you soon. Over and out. Cortina City. Don't forget to visit us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Cortina, and that's where you can support the channel and help me to carry on making the videos, because YouTube doesn't really pay much. I just keep producing the footage and the materials. All cost money to do the films. Yeah, you can go on YouTube for free. Patreon, if you think it's worth it, join up. Catch you later. Pete C, over and out.
Survey. That's Diana Ross and Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I'm Casey Kasem on AT40 in Hollywood. We've got 29 #1 records to go on our way to the #1 song of the 70s.
Casey Coast to Coast. That's the first song. Father Abraham and before the #1, a full rundown of this week's Top 20. First time in at #20 for Rosalie and Thin Lizzy. #19, Dancing in the City.
Number 28, here's one of those hits. Paul McCartney and Wings with My Love. Number 28, here's one of those hits. Number 28, here's one of those hits.